episode of the Potted Point podcast, the 10th episode. As you would have seen in the last one, we honored a guy who's promoting cricket in Canada by Mo Zubair, called as Mo Zubair rather. And today we honor another person who was the epitome of cricket in South Africa. You know, Dave, when I talk about this gentleman that we are discussing today, he seamlessly fits in every character of the Avengers as well as the DC comics. You know why? Because when you talk about Superman, you have Fab du Plessis, the diving fielder. When you talk about a chiseled physique, you have Fab du Plessis as the Hulk. When you talk about a leader, you have Fab du Plessis as Captain America. And when you talk about a vigilante, the watchful protector of South African cricket, I don't need to tell you who are we referring to then. You have Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, aka Francois du Plessis. And to top it all, why do I feel so privileged is that the year of my birth, 1984, coincides with three stalwarts of South African cricket. Abraham Benjamin de Villiers, Jean-Paul Duminy, and the man in question today, the man we are celebrating today, Francois du Plessis. So it's a privilege, man, to talk about this guy who I'm fortunate enough to share my year of birth with. So what are your memories about this guy, man?
I have loads of memories, none of which can be replaced by the fact that as a fan, he made me so proud when on February 7th, I believe, 2017, he helped South Africa to a humongous total rather of 367. He was playing an ODI against Sri Lanka in Cape Town, and he was responsible for 185 runs alone of those 367 runs. And guess who was the second highest scorer in that inning? Your second favorite, Abraham Benjamin de Villiers. He made a fighting half century. But Faf du Plessis, I don't know who to compliment more. Faf du Plessis, the athlete, Faf, the watchful protector, in your words, of South African team, the careful vigilante who oversaw a very difficult period of transition when none of the greats remained live in existing cricket in South Africa, because he's somebody who shouldered far more challenges than many would imagine. In some ways, and it's actually a return question to you. I was just noting some of his achievements have come under adversity. He was given a crown of thorns when he took over the leadership. It isn't it a bit like Jason Holder, but of course with much better numbers as a batsman, because Jason Holder took over reins of captaincy of a demolished test side in particular when nobody was willing to come forward. But Faf du Plessis is somebody who inspires and uh, inspires and generates awe in equal measure.
True, Dave. When you have the mettle to conquer any adversity, so holder is a very automatic surname that you get because you're holding the burden of the team. Francois might be du Plessis, but in our head, in my head at least, he's also a holder because he's held the burden of South African cricket for a good 3-4 years. When you were talking about adversity, my earliest memory is the 2012 Adelaide Test. I think that was his debut test, where in the second innings, his birth in international. Actually, his birth had happened in the 2011 World Cup when he had that standoff with Kyle Mills in the ill-fated quarterfinal that South Africa lost
South Africa
in India. Chasing a paltry total of less than 200, and the great Jacques Kallis, Abraham Benjamin de Villiers, they all were out, and this guy was holding the fort. But coming back to the Adelaide Test, it was just fantastic, man. In his debut test, that guy played for what 1.5 full days, 2 full days.
Yes, he stuck on the wicket for more than 360 minutes of time. Wow. And let's not forget that when he cracked his 110, I believe, in the first innings also, he made a half century. He made 78. So right. I think there is a lot of talk of great innings being played by many great batsmen early on. We talk about Brian Lara's 277. But in any South African fans' heart and mind, this innings would be of that stature. I'll tell you why. Because while the other greats were doing their job, he helped South Africa escape to an unlikely draw. And the pressure was enormous. He was against bowlers like Ben Hilfenhaus, who was then at the peak of his swing and his prowess. It wasn't easy. The Australian slip fielding was perhaps at its best after in the post Marco era. So
You know, his
Faf
house is
really
not called as Hilfin. His house has another name.
and is it on fire? I don't know.
And
But he
that
was
was the
also the
platform which
Hilfenhaus.
helped South Africa win the series under Grant Smith, wasn't it? Or
Yes,
did we draw
yes.
that series? We won that series.
I think South Africa won that series, but that draw was always going to be a loss, man. That was not going to be a draw had it not been for one muscular right-hander who perfectly fits the frame of any chiseled shirtless photo shoot, the likes of which we find youngsters emulating everywhere on social media. And had Faf, you know what? And we'll come to this point later, whether he warrants a Hollywood movie or not, or at least some South African movie maker should come forward. But my point of view is Joaquin Phoenix should start hitting the gym, because I personally see a lot of similarity between Joaquin Phoenix and Faf du Plessis' face, and there can be nobody else who can play, you know,
The Joker.
the South African warrior. Well, the
He in
Australians
the
would
true.
call him the Joker. Australians would call him a Joker for the Mint controversy and all. But Faf has been a warrior. I feel privileged to be part of this show today with you and talking about a man I love so much. Besides Shea Hope being my favorite ODI batsman.
You know, Dave, speaking about Adelaide, it just took my memory back in time. It was the 2003 series. India was down under, and one guy made us win that test match. And who else could it be than Rahul Sharad Dravid? You know, it's so funny, Dave, that our heroes talking about another hero also seamlessly fit in a podcast. Like you talked about Brian Lara, I talked about Rahul Dravid right now.
नहीं, वो तो
Like-minded
हमारी
people,
greatness है ना कि हम उनको ले ही आते हैं हमारी साथ में.
like-minded people are always together. And you know,
Right.
when you were talking about Hollywood and Faf definitely merits a Hollywood film. If you remember last
He
year, I paid
does.
an ode to him, calling him the James Bond of cricket
Yeah, I read
because
your
of
article on
his
Rapid. I
because
read
of
your
his
article on
good
Rapid.
looks,
Yes.
because of his charisma, because of his
Yeah.
leadership skills. Yeah, so definitely.
What is your other favorite memory of Faf? And it's been a career which has easily crossed a decade now, you know, at the highest honors of the game.
You know, there are a couple, Dave. The first one is in the 2016 series when he was cornered for ball tampering and the way the team stood for him. And thanks to him, we won the first two tests and we won the series. So he created opportunity in
Hashim
adversity.
Amla gave a press
Yeah,
conference
that's
in which
right.
he stood up
That's
for
right.
him.
That's right. So Hashim Amla was the leader in Faf's absence who got the team together and they put a united face in front of the press to stand by Faf. And when Faf came back, he sort of played another very good inning. And you know, they've the second one is it's testimony to his credentials as a leader, as a captain, to his astute sense of thinking. In the 2019 World Cup, the first match against England that the Proteas played, he opened the bowling on a tough oval surface with Imran Tahir. And Imran Tahir got, I think, Jason Roy out or Johnny Bairstow. I don't remember one of those. And was a master stroke man because even the English weren't expecting, even the commentators weren't expecting, and what was I? Because I thought ideally Kagiso Rabada would be opening, but that was a master stroke there. So you know his sense of reading the game, reading the situation, and coming up with these very astute sort of mechanisms or sort of thinking that he has is like testament to him as a leader.
I think the man has himself admitted that nothing has brought out the best in me, unlike such as taking over the captaincy. It's
That's
when you take over the test captaincy is when the world starts to take you seriously. Our Faf du Plessis' words, which reminds me of a particular, it's not an incident, it's rather a very heartwarming gesture. I think it was the 2017-2018 season when Virat Kohli led India towards South Africa. This was AB de Villiers' last home series against India on South African soil. Faf was the captain. So while we have, a man with excessive hair mask, I'm not, I'm so sorry, I'm saying hair mask.
Facial
I
hair.
wanted to say facial hair, aggressive and muscular, and very lean athlete walk down the pitch for the toss wearing the Indian jacket. He's expecting a very rock solid hard handshake, but the South African captain walks in and he says, "Hey Virat, come and give me a hug." You could hear it on the microphone, right? It was so clear. So when Virat was kind of anticipating a rock solid, very no holds barred welcome from the other end, Faf embraced him. That's the kind of player he is. When they went to Australia, and under his captaincy, I believe they defeated the Australians thanks to Rabada being in great form in the early patches of
2016,
his career. Yes,
2016 Test series.
he
That's right.
he addressed a press conference saying that I'm sleeping with this man, right?
Yeah,
He kissed him in front of. He's a man who Faf is like family. And guess what? Both things. The name starts with the alphabet F. That's common. He welcomes you to the group. He leads by an example. In 2019, one of the lowest ebbs South African cricket ever found itself amid, the only century in the Cricket World Cup, the pinnacle of contest in the men's cricket, came through the bat of whom? Faf du Plessis. And that too, a towering century at better than run a ball against the Australians. But let's not also forget that who was at the other end, Rassie van der Dussen, who holds now the future, one of the
that's right.
future leaders of South Africa.
Man, he
So I was so
averages
glad.
80 in ODI cricket, Dave. That's no mean feat.
Speaking of averages, it's rather incredible that how uh, unsung Faf du Plessis has gone,
That's right.
particularly in the past half a decade of his ODI journey. And let me tell you a fact, since 2014 onwards, there has never been a calendar year in one day international cricket where Faf has averaged less than 48. So in 2014, his average was 53 in ODIs, 2015, 59, 2016, it dipped to 48, but 2017, 60, 2018, 62, and 2019, 67 plus. It was, I think, 68 in
Phenomenal.
2019.
It's phenomenal.
So, which brings me to a very important question, whose time has actually come, as Faf du Plessis is right now on the final legs of his international career. Have we been a bit rude in not accepting the fact that at least in ODIs, at least in white ball cricket, it's not Fab Four, it's Fab Five, and the fifth person, in addition to Kohli, Smith, Williamson, Root, is Francois Faf du Plessis. His numbers are no less. In some cases, his average is better than Kane Williamson.
You're right, Dave. If you look at this, the Faf 5 from the roots of it, it's definitely Faf merits place.
It should be Fab Five, in which the
It should
other
be
four
Faf
are
5,
there.
that's right.
Fab Five. Sorry, Indian viewers. We are very
Dave,
sorry.
the thing is that I feel somewhere world cricket and so much so even the Protea fans were so obsessed with AB de
AB de
Villiers
Villiers.
and
That he
Hashim
got
Amla
overshadowed.
that Faf with his pure batting merits was sort of overshadowed. But when it comes to captaincy, and as you said, Test cricket is the pinnacle of the game, it gets you that kind of recognition. Do you know that Faf with his 18 wins in Test cricket is only third when it comes to the all-time wins for South African cricket? Only third to Graham Smith and Nancy Cronje. So that
I
in
did not know
itself
that.
is a terrific achievement, so to speak. So credit should be given to him there. And funny enough that his record sort of went south only after the 2019 World Cup, because then South Africa went to India. They lost the series 3-0.
In Test
Then
cricket. Yeah.
in Test cricket, I'm saying. And then England came to South Africa. Again, South Africa lost the series 3-1. So before
Right.
that, so his last win came amid 6 losses. So
Right.
imagine before these 6 losses, how good his test record as a captain would have been.
A shining example of which I can provide here by the simple fact that he's truly been a sorcerer with the bat when it comes to challenging the might of Australian bowlers. The simple example is stats and numbers don't lie. Maybe Jennifer Lopez's hips do, but or Shakira's or whosoever is responsible for that great song. He has in excess of 800 runs against Australia in tests. The exact number is 888. And against the same opponent, he has 1,000 plus ODI runs. Against Sri Lanka, he has 1,000. Uh, yeah, he has 1,000 plus runs, 1,100 plus runs in ODIs, and 874 runs against Sri Lanka in tests. Now, it's not that he has only faced lame bowlers. There was Rangana Herats and the likes who he countered. So he's particularly been a thorn in the path of the Australians. And the only country against whom he might feel he could have done a lot better, but actually Indians, because he doesn't even average 30 with the bat in tests against India. And I think that was when Faf was, as you rightly said, his form was waning out or something. But still, let's not forget, he managed 199 runs in a single inning, aged 36 above, right? That's no mean feat for somebody
Against Sri
who's
Lanka,
not at
that's
the
right, in
best
the
of.
first test.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So
And
Faf
that
has done
was
so much.
a rare test series win that the South Africans got post the 2019 World Cup. Their form
Yeah.
has been so
Yeah.
terrible. But
And that
thankfully,
came under his
it's
tutelage.
going for the up now, Dave, with the West Indies series win and
Yeah.
now with Ireland. So hopefully better things to come for South African cricket. But Dave, I'll pose another question to you. Do you see Faf making a comeback in the T20 team for the T20 World Cup?
This particular question is something which has been popping in my mind in terms of whether I should actually write an article on this. Being a Faf fan, my heart says he merits a place. But if I see it from the head, if I approach this question from the head, um, it's not impossible, but it's difficult because first of all, you never really know what policies, what selections might come to the fore. Let's face facts; they haven't always been as pleasant as one would have anticipated. The fact that Faf carries a lot of experience cannot be doubted. It is like saying that sun does not rise from the east, you know. But the fact that the team has moved on a little bit and is trying to regroup amidst youngsters, a core group, the likes of which you know much better than me, does not automatically open the door for Faf. Can he hit at a higher rate still in T20, let's say, versus a Bavuma? For sure. But are his reflexes as amazing as Rassi at Van der Dusen's age? I'm not sure. So he should be made to at least feature in the squad, much like a Christopher Henry Gale, you know, who now is making runs in 2 innings out of 6, or 1 in 4, or 1 in 5. But
This
that's not
morning he
exactly the
scored some
rate.
68 odd, right? 68 of
Yes.
36 or something.
And he reached his half century after half a decade in T20 international cricket.
Arey, Dave, let
After
me
half a decade.
congratulate you for the series win. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
encouraging to see
Thank
West
you.
Indies finally win something.
So they could not beat a powerless South African team, but a powerful bowling lineup, they are smashing everywhere. So that's West Indies for you. So that's the thing about Faf. He should be in the squad at least, but is he going to make it to the automatic playing 11? I really don't know.
Dave, it's also a question of where do you fit him in the batting order. With CSK, he sort of opens the innings under MS Dhoni. So if you see the South African opening combination, surely there's Quinton de Kock. Now the other place can go to Temba Bavuma, it can go to Aiden Markram, it can go to Yanaman Malan, or it can go to Francois du Plessis. Then the other question is that if you don't want him to open, you have to play him one down because otherwise the caliber that the man
Yeah, he's
possesses,
not a low order
it
guy.
yeah,
You
it
want him
doesn't
to
merit
be alpha.
having him at 2 down or 3 down. So that's the sort of conundrum. But considering his experience and considering his
That he's
the
still
way
fit. He takes those diving catches.
he's fit in both of our families combined. Uh, but the thing is that his experience in the subcontinent is so valuable that I would definitely see him, like you rightly said, in the squad. I would want to see him in the starting 11 also, possibly as an opener with Dekor. Bavuma can come one down with Markham coming in 2 down,
Absolutely.
and Razi and then Miller. Because, you'll need that
You can see
impetus
that lineup. It'll be incredible, yeah.
uh, because he'll give the much needed impetus at the top of the order. Man. So for me, definitely should be in the squad in the playing 11. That too,
Absolutely.
and it's imagine if South Africa lifts that World Cup. What a perfect way to like sort of walk into the sunset. Like a victory, possibly which hasn't come since the start of time, and it deservingly comes when Faf wants to retire and he sort of walks into the sunset with South Africa hoisting the trophy. It'll be brilliant.
Yeah. It'll be brilliant. I'll ask you a question, a random question. Do you know Faf du Plessis' average against New Zealand in tests?
I'm sure it'll be.
It's
I don't
70.
know, man. 70, 70.
70. 70.
Wow.
With 491 runs. So which is
Possibly
why
he
I
loves
keep reiterating the fact that, yeah.
I think
He
his
loves the
favorite fruit is the kiwi fruit.
yeah. And I'm sure a person like him is only keeping himself on a diet of occasional wine and fruits and cheese, and possibly red meat.
His strike rate in T20 cricket also, Dave, is pretty decent. It's on the higher side of 130, about 138, which is no mean feat in a T20 contest. And the guy has the ability to play long in T20 cricket. It's not like, he's not that swashbuckling opener who will just come, hit it to all parks and then just get out. If he gets his time, he can build an innings, and that could be the much needed. You can get a second Razi in the team. If you're getting my point. So Quinton de Kock can be that aggressive guy, and then Faf can hold an end. Maybe Bavuma can also play a bit aggressively, and then you have that Razi phenomena running with Faf too. And possibly that gives a good leeway to Miller to go about his aggressive approach. Right now, there's anything but killer about it. We need to see that he gets into form.
I hope he's not related to Ben Stiller because his record is a bit on a standstill mode. But anyways, one of the another underappreciated fact about Faf is that so the scenes are of 2015 Australia World Cup semi-finals. They are playing the Heartbreakers.
Let's not go there, Dave. I still cry about that. I was sitting in a mall watching that contest, and the people in the food court thought this guy is crazy. Why is he crying for a South African New Zealand game being an Indian? I mean,
you were in tears?
I was crying, bro, not even in tears. I was literally weeping, and I took that day off. I told my boss I can't go back to work after this.
The only time I cried watching the West Indies match was when Suleiman Ben was awarded Cricketer of the Year by some cricket federation in the West Indies. That was the only weeping moment. But in that match, who top scored for South Africa? Faf du Plessis with 82.
That's right.
And to this day, we remember the poor bowling of Dale Steyn and everything. And really, Dale Steyn, I mean, I don't know what happened to him in the second half of his career. But had Faf's 82 runs not been there, the likes of
the likes of Riley Russo, the likes of Abraham Benjamin de Villiers, the likes of David Miller, they couldn't have got going. You need a foundation because Hashim Amla was out cheaply, and I don't remember how did Quinton de Kock do in that particular match. Speaking of laying foundations, did you know that? And I was in person watching this match at the Wankhede. South Africa toured Australia just after the World Cup for a Test series and a ODI series, which South Africa won 3-2. A 2-2 result went to Wankhede, the decider. And who else was it but Faf who laid the foundation in South Africa scored well in excess of 400 against the Dhoni-led India. He
Wow.
almost reached 150 there, and I saw him play in person. It was fantastic.
You've seen Faf in person?
I've seen Faf play in person thrice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
One
did
was
you
in
did you shout
England.
Faf-tastic from the audience? You're Faf-tastic.
Fantastic. Yeah, definitely.
Right. No, Faf is a lion. I mean, one of the titles of any article to him ideally should be the last lion from South Africa. Until we actually see somebody, roaring wild and still maintaining a grace and humility about him. No wild shenanigans. Doesn't take his shirt off. Will not wield it from the balcony of a Cape Town or a Johannesburg, and is still the dada of his own
Right.
team. And he's one of those rare players, Pranay, correct me if I'm wrong, who has respect in India. Like there are people who recognize Faf. They will not have a poor or a cheap opinion about Faf. You know, in Chennai, he's become the most recognized faces thanks to his amazing stint with the CSK, for which I personally credit Dhoni a lot because he came close to Dhoni and he's good friends with Suresh Raina. He bonds well with the opening combination with Watson was fantastic.
I really
And you're
like
right.
Suresh Raina also. Yeah. He's a very underappreciated Indian player. Man.
We never gave him a. I don't know
Yeah,
what's with
yeah.
us just obsessing about some people and not giving the rest their due, man. Just doesn't work well with me.
I wish we can get Suresh Raina on a podcast. That'd be fantastic.
Knowing the humility of the person and the fact that he's not a touch me not cricketer, we might just.
He's
Yeah,
a cook me up cricketer. Do you know that? He's a fantastic cook.
he's a
Fantastic cook. He's a cook me up cricketer, not a touch me not.
yeah. Okay.
Cook me up.
Okay. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. So
So we should also give credit to the IPL here for Francois' recognition in this country here. There are certain
yes,
very
and
good
not
things
only
also
IPL.
that the IPL has given to cricket in terms of creating a market for international players in our country here, creating that recognition.
Yes.
And like you and me, there are a lot of other Indian supporters also who truly like Faf for the cricketer he is rather than just a icon, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember watching one of those interviews, and true to his very different sense of fashion and style that he carries, he was on one of South Africa's important broadcasters. That video clip is still there on YouTube. He was wearing a brown shirt with his biceps pounding out, and here the top button had been closed, right? And he was wearing gray jeans, shoes without socks, his usual style. And they asked him about the importance of the IPL, and he very firmly established the fact that it's a country where you worship cricketers and gods alike. Like they are praying to a god who's an elephant god, but you have to respect that, and you must. So it wasn't the fact that he was finding it difficult to come to terms with some of the outwardly traditions, so to speak. How might, for example, in the eyes of an atheist, this might seem a bit outlandish, but to Faf, it didn't matter. He said the kind of warmth that you get. Of course, we haven't quite had Faf's impact in India to an extent that people would, raise slogans in his name in his favor. But Faf has made his presence. The purist, the cricket purist, whose second favorite team is South Africa, understands the importance of Faf du Plessis. And it is about time that South African Cricket
Okay, so
Association
you're
also
saying that
created.
India is not your second favorite team, South Africa is. That's
Um,
music to my ears, bro. I really like
well, India is my first favorite team.
that. So
Second
that's
favorite
the
is
West Indies.
that's when they play in the West, when they played in Gujarat, the Motera Stadium, then I like West Indies. Otherwise, India is my favorite. I love India. And actually, my favorite batsman from India at the moment is KL Rahul. I would want nothing more than KL Rahul making runs because I've stopped expectations of Pujara. I think it's best to not expect and then to be surprised by him. But KL Rahul is class. He's one to watch out for, and he should really deliver the goods. And I have a lot of expectations from the likes of Shubman Gill as well. But let's see what happens. Let's not go there. Let's come back to the topic of the lion. Let's get into the skin of the lion. Where else do you see him in the next 6 to 9 months? Is he gonna play the Mazansi League, which you
You
closely follow?
know, the Mazanji League unfortunately is not happening now. The
Why?
situation of South African cricket is such that they're just trying to solve their off-field problems as we speak. So, and
God,
the third
that's
wave,
bad.
as we speak, is also on in South Africa.
Yes, and South Africa is in complete
In
lockdown.
fact, the last time the Mazanji League happened was just before the English tour, the 2019 English tour. So, hoping to see it happen again, but I believe he's captaining one of the sides in the 100,
Yeah,
the
he's gonna
English
be part of the
tournament.
100.
So
Yeah,
that's something to look forward to. Plus, hopefully, to see him in the T20 World Cup. Obviously, before that, in the IPL with CSK. Uh, in fact, Dave, you know what? Another thing which gets me to believe that he should be in the T20 squad is because in the same conditions, he would have just played the IPL. So imagine his familiarity with those conditions, his experience that he brings to the force. So, you know, it's a no-brainer actually not, I mean, to have him in the squad, to have him in the playing 11 because he just played in those conditions. And obviously, he merits a place in the CSK starting 11 in every game.
yeah, you're talking about someone who's made 1,500 plus T20 international runs for
That's
his
right.
country. I
You know,
mean,
but the good
that's
news, Dave, is that Mark Boucher and Temba Bavuma are in regular conversations with Fab. So I see that that shift happening, and he
yeah. Let us
possibly should
let
be in
us
the
give
squad.
the man
Yeah,
a
yeah,
chance to
yeah,
prove himself once again. And why
yeah,
should he prove
100%.
himself? He has nothing left to prove. He's done everything. Um,
100%.
as a cricketer, he has been found guilty of ball tampering, but so was the great Rahul Dravid. Everybody has apologized for it. He's never promised to be a Buddhist monk. He's not. He's not Jesus Christ. I mean, he's a stylish, cool icon, the likes of which the 21st century cricket fan admires. You know, somebody whose batting stats are as attractive as his Instagram pictures. He's a completely devoted family man, the archetypical, the archetypal icon you look up to. You know, the complete family figure. What was he doing in 2020 with South Africa in lockdown? He was on down the streets in Johannesburg and Cape Town distributing food to the underprivileged and needy. And there was no showing off about it anywhere. So that's the kind of man, you know.
You know, Dave,
He
you
would
don't
bring
need gods in cricket. You need warriors. And Fab for me is a warrior. He's not a god. He's a warrior. There can be flip sides also to being a warrior, but at the end of the day, you need to win it for your team. You need to win it for your country. You need to win it for yourself and your people. And Faf exactly
so,
does that.
so Mr.
He doesn't need to
Duplessis
be
joined the army after cricket. He is fit
doesn't need to
enough
be
to run
worshipped.
for it.
Dave. He just needs to be
Does need
just
to be
needs to be
worshipped.
respected. That's
Yeah.
because
So,
giving cricketers godlike status is also it's we who do that. Dave. It's you know we make
they
them.
never asked for it. Yeah.
They never ask for it. We take them to that pedestal. And then our expectations so much from them that if they don't perform, then we make them almost as good as paupers, from God to a
Yeah.
pauper. So it's us to be blamed. We just need to be normal, everyday heroes.
He,
Like Spider-Man said that I'm your neighborhood hero. So it's like
but I
that.
will not do Zomato delivery in your house. Don't expect that from me. That you have to order on your own. And we were not promoting Zomato, by the way. So, अब वो दिन तो है नहीं
So
कि हमें कोई स्पॉन्सर कर रहा हो तो हम करें.
वो भी आ जाएगा यार. उसमें क्या बात.
True. Um, I wanted to ask you one question. Any interesting battle with a bowler of FAF which comes to your mind? He definitely has played Mitchell Johnson, hasn't he? At his peak.
He has. Uh, who were the Australian bowlers when he scored 110 to save that test match? Man? I think there was Mitchell
Ben
Johnson, there was
Hilfenhaus, Peter
Ben
Siddle.
Hilfenhaus, Peter Siddle.
Yeah.
So there's no particular bowler, but I've seen him dominate a lot of bowlers. In fact, even in the 2019 World Cup against Australia, where he scored a century, Australian bowling attack is as good as any in world cricket. Yeah, with Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood, Pat Cummins,
Yeah.
and he was just
For-
Cummins at them. I mean, coming at
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, coming hard at
So-
them, actually.
Yeah, coming hard at them. Cummins hard at them. But so there's no particular bowler as such, and that's the versatility and the diversity of the man that can like crash any
Sometimes
bowler for that matter.
some of the shots he's played in T20, he's fallen after hitting shots. You know, in whipping the ball off his hips, and he's fallen and the ball has crossed the boundary. That's what I like about him. And you know, so
His
batting
batting
stance-
stance is also very unique. You know, it reminds me
very
of a mythological warrior Hanuman, the way he used to hold his gada. That's the way this guy's batting stance is. You won't see that kind of, what should I say? It's not very stylish. It's not very Virat Kohli-esque or for
His
that
is
matter,
very-
Sachin Tendulkar-esque. But there's that dynamism with the way he bats.
Yeah.
And you know that he's going to clobber it everywhere.
फटका लगने
So,
वाला है, मतलब it's
हाँ,
that.
हाँ. And his
And if
six
you
hitting
go-
ability is also very effortless. It's not like
Yeah, yeah.
he really needs to try to hit a six. Uska timing itna acha hai that it happens.
The bat flow, everything.
The
follow
bat
through.
flow, everything. And he has a
And
very
Faf's a good-
high back lift, so which really
Yeah.
aids him. That's
I
really
love high
important.
back lifts. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
personally high back lifts. His batting stance comes from, I think, between the first gully and the third slip region, and it comes down in a flash. And he's as strong on the onside as he is on the off. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, some of his square drives, some of his, the gentle nudges through the covers, the pushes, the rasp cuts. Faf has been batsman extraordinaire. I just hope
He's
that when he
The
just gets
writing
more
between the
recognition.
wickets, you can't.
Yeah.
He's very quick in terms of taking runs also. It's like really good between the wickets also. That's also very.
And the strange part was recently fielding in a T20 league. He had
was
a concussion
concussed.
loss.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
lost his memory for a bit. And then he's fit and ready, he's fine. So that's the guy that he is. He's not gonna demand ki bhai, now I'm 36, 37. He's completed 37 today. So I want 6 days rest, 7 days rest. He's fine. He's in the gym the next day, and Instagram reel will show you.
If can I ask you a question? Now, just indulge me in this.
Don't ask me
imagine
about
if-
my waist size and my biceps. They're not close to Fab. I'll get there soon.
Imagine Faf du Plessis and Inzamam Haq at the crease together, and they need to take quick signals. What do you think will happen?
They will call Ridley Jacobs as the substitute runner. that can be quite a scenario.
Ridley
Inzamam,
Jacobs was
by
the
the way.
only West Indian who kept asking riddles on his performance in West Indian cricket.
Which were quite flattering in the 1999 World Cup. He gave them flying starts. He became the pinch hitter. He became the
with
left-handed
Shruvan Campbell.
Kalu Vijayarana. Yeah,
That's right.
he was fun. He was a fun player to watch, and he did great justice to West Indies cricket. That during his playing days, he admired Lara. Immediately after retiring, he said he's the most selfish man I've seen. Thank you, Brian, for your services. You were an idiot for scoring 400 runs alone. But anyway, let's not get there. So many people have done so many things to Brian. But how do you see Faf's future involvement with the playing 11 on the ground when he's finally retired from all forms of the game?
No, I really can't answer that question. It's up to the South African management how they want to use it.
But how do you perceive
Because,
what roles might he fit in?
So I definitely see him as a batting mentor and if there could be a title, as a leadership mentor.
Mhm.
Because those two skills that he has are priceless. So, like, Jacques Kallis was mentoring the South African batters during the England series. So Faf can possibly play a similar role, and the young South African batters can always look up to it. It necessarily does not mean that you have to be in some sort of a role with South African cricket. Like, did you know this guy Keegan Peterson, who just played in the Test series in the West Indies, this small right-hander from South Africa? He's still being mentored by Jacques Kallis. So Jacques Kallis has no direct involvement with South African cricket. So if Faf sort of opens his arms towards mentoring the young South African brigade in whatever capacity he can, that'll be something. I mean, you necessarily need not be involved with South African cricket, so to speak. But if he gets a batting mentor or a leadership mentor role, that'll also be really nice.
South Africa is also the land which has given the world cricket so many amazing fielders, and we don't even need to go there. Rhodes and Gibbs, first two names. Faf himself, very safe pair of hands, don't you think? A very dependable fielder in the
100%,
slip.
100%. In the
I think
slip region, at point,
168
covers,
catches
wherever you.
total.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
168
South Africa has been
catches.
really blessed with fielders. For that matter, JP Dumini, Abraham Benjamin de Villiers, Marshall Mamla is one of the finest catchers in the slip cordon that I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's so funny that the golden era of South African cricket, I just can't get enough. I mean, it's so nostalgic to keep talking about it. Much like the Ganguly Dravid era of Indian cricket.
Oh my God, that was phenomenal. I loved Ganguly, the player. That was
100%.
he brought
100%. The Prince of Kolkata.
The Prince of Calcutta.
The way Jeffrey Boycott commentated when Ganguly had those flowing cover drives was something.
Don't you think? Silly cricket, the Prince of Calcutta. He was unbelievable. Saurav Ganguly, the grace, the flair. David Garr meets Dilip Vengsarkar. But now
had Faf not gone Kolpak in the starting phase of his playing career, he went to play for Lancashire. He certainly would have debuted alongside Abraham Benjamin de Villiers and this is in admission by AB de Villiers, that Faf as a player was as good as me or if not better. Just that Faf at that point decided to go and play in England. He came back to play for South Africa. He lost out on those 3-4 years. Otherwise, he would see him in the batting order right from 2004, 2005. That early.
But the fact that he decided against it and decided to serve his country in an era where it is very easy to forget the country and just play these freelancing duties over the world.
That's right.
I think that makes him a man more than a star.
Right.
And I think if you delve into the person behind the cult of personality, that is Faf du Plessis, you'll find the heart of a lion, a man with the heart of a lion. Because he has seen so many heartbreaks. It's heartbreaking when you see the likes of AB de Villiers walk away, Dale Steyn being pounded to all parts of the ground, the great Morne Morkel retiring, then Philander, one great, then Amla, then not necessarily in that order, and you feel that you are the only one now. So, and Faf, one of his quotes is that I did not want to leave the country because it needed me. He was talking about the 2017-18 period. From that point onwards, it was not the tip of the iceberg. It was the iceberg had been breached. He had to be there, and he was there. I just hope that he could have gotten that extra run. And
Dave, the best part about the man is that he's still available to play for South Africa. It's just that South Africa needs to get their head around that and take him, because he hasn't announced his retirement from limited over setup.
Yes, and why should he? He's a phenomenal white ball player.
100%.
Phenomenal.
Dave, there was a time I had the same level of respect for AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis. But from the time AB de Villiers started doing these shenanigans of I want to be in, I want to be out, then I again want to be in, then I again want to be out, my sort of respect for him just went down a little. And for Fab, actually, it soared because his commitment to South Africa has been at the same level throughout the last, say,
Has
10
been
to
higher than
12
any
years.
players. Yeah.
100%, 100%. You know, it could have been so easy for Fab after the 2019 World Cup to just say that I'm done, I'm retiring. I mean, it's just over for me. But he still understood that South Africa needs him. He took the team to India. Then he
Yeah.
faced the English team when they came in. And South Africa at that time were reeling from a very big crisis, a very big off the field crisis. There was corruption in the board. Then hastily they appointed Graham Smith as the director of cricket. Mark Boucher came in as coach because Otis Gibson was sacked. So the one constant during that time was Faf du Plessis, right from
Imagine
exiting India to arrival of England.
exactly. Imagine for a player who received death threats when South Africa crashed out of 2011 World Cup, was hurled Abuses Act.
That's correct.
That
Done an
point of
article
time,
on that. Yeah,
and now looking at a statistical accumulation which reads precisely 11,198 international runs.
phenomenal,
Salute to Faf du Plessis. I mean, it's just
phenomenal.
incredible. Even as a test batter, his average he ended with 40.4, which is a respectable, a healthy average. Something should
100%.
the likes of a Craig Brathwaite from a different country should really look at and see that God has also given you. You have age, time on your hands. You have all these opportunities. You are the captain. Why aren't you driving yourself forward? When you're
I think his
36 and you're
surname
bowling for
justifies the way he is. He's just waiting for something that way.
waiting for the breathtaking innings, the likes of which
Yeah.
we last saw in 2017 at the Headingley
In fact, West
Test.
Indies was superb in that series against England, wasn't it? Shea Hope was in form. Brathwaite did wonders. They chased down a very difficult target.
He hit a century in both innings of a match, breaking in the process a 127-year-old record because no batsman until such time had hit centuries in both innings of a test match. So Shea Hope did it. After that, his numbers in test cricket have become bit have gone on the lesser side of hope. So I won't call it hopeless completely, but they have been devoid of hope. But I was saying I just wish that Faf took one more run and could have hit his maiden and only double century before retiring. So that 199, but even that 199 will stand out.
In fact, you should give credit to Bavuma also for that innings because South Africa lost a heap of quick wickets. I think when they were close to 200, and then when Bavuma came into bat, he steadied the ship and he gave Faf the chance to soar and to build that kind of innings like he did.
Yeah. Temba Bavuma, the cutie of South African cricket. He's a fine player.
And
Fine
I
player.
love his captaincy. Have you seen him captain? It shows that he has that knowledge and that astute sense of being in charge. Like I've watched him very closely, captain in the West Indies series, now in the washed out Island game. He seems to be in control, and his field placings are invariably very spot on with the way the situation demands.
Mhm.
He's one for the future. I think at least South Africa have got this right in terms of having Dean Elgar leading the test team on a long term, being appointed for a long term, and so is the case with Temba Bavuma. So at least they have some certainty happening there, which is really heartening to
Absolutely.
see. And two natural leaders are doing that. And when you talk about leadership, from where would they have imbibed all this? From no one else but Faf, because they both played under Faf for so long.
One day, not long from now, the fire will rise once again.
It showed it. It's high time.
We'll once again have those famous wallpapers, Victoria's fire. At that point of time, it was Imran Tahir, Dale Steyn, Hashim, AB, Faf. Then it'll be Raina, Andrik Nokia, hopefully minus that new
He's
mustache
got rid
style.
of that. He's just kept a simple mustache.
Superb, well done.
Yeah, I hope to see him play today,
That
Monday.
was, yeah, today's a
But
game.
today's the game. In fact, just to digress a little, if you would have seen the South Africa Ireland match, Ireland were pretty good with their batting before the rain
Yeah.
came. They were doing pretty well. Andy
They have a
Balboni,
Sterling
William
character who
Porterfield.
would be willing to make Sterling runs for them.
Not so much Paul Sterling, but definitely William Porterfield and Andrew
Not in
Balboni,
that
the
game, I
captain.
know,
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely.
he also
He's one
warrants.
of he's the highest run scorer in ODI cricket this year. Paul Sterling.
Definitely not someone who you might consider would clear the yo-yo test as required by Indian team here, but it doesn't really matter because when you have class and capability, it you don't have to be Jean-Claude Van Damme on the field, which by the way Faf is. I don't know about his. I don't know if he's into martial arts, but man, look at that physique, yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, he and Shane Watson. Really, I mean, they have an automatic entry into Hollywood if they ever think so. Which is if Hardik Pandya gets a break and gets to play Leonardo DiCaprio in a movie. You don't know, we might be heading in that direction too one day.
Hardik Pandya
No
plays
love lost
Leonardo
to you, Hardik.
DiCaprio.
You are an amazing hitter of the ball.
Let's not go there, Dave. Today is a day of celebration. We should just be in good spirits, right?
I love
So
your
Dave,
Jim Carrey expressions, the way they turn.
on 31st of this year, no, not 31st, not this year, on 2nd January this year, you made a very fitting tribute to Faf du Plessis with a poem. Will you please
Yeah.
recite that to our viewers as we end this podcast?
Sure. So I did happen to write a poem on Faf, and
And
the
viewers, there's
title
no
will,
faff about that. It's very factual and it's said from Dave's heart.
yeah, it's titled "The Man Behind the Biceps, Big Heart, and That Recent 199," and it goes on like this: The South Africans need a warrior, one who now more than ever can break any kind of barrier. Amid this wave of transformation, they need someone who can navigate the ship, especially amid turbulent waters. And to that one reckons there can only be one, someone who can score and provide a healing touch to wounds, I beg your pardon, that have turned sour. At a time where to save a vital DNA of cricket, the board would the board would wanted to have had a pact with the countless to the few who went the Kolpak way, leaving behind all opportunities that may have come their way. Must we not forget one man stayed back to behold the southernmost part of Africa. To its naysayers, it's a nation engulfed in petty politics amid some decay. But for those who recite endlessly deep into the night a prayer, it reads Protea's fire. The nation is better known as South Africa. Steering no longer as the captain is this man who at 36 measures 199 on 200 in commitment. To hold an end calmly whilst many head back to the seating area is a brief salutation to his temperament. For he is someone who in the last 18 months has seen a lot, might have been torn inside, must have felt let down. Yeah, something like that would have been his thoughts. The runs, the power, the muscles, the composure, one can see are still around. Each time the ball goes into the gap or is hit over the fence or is even showed the dead face of the bat, with a minor twitch of the muscle, Faf du Plessis rises to the fore and does his hustle. For to him, staring Proteas out of crisis, like the great dean of the Protean University of batsmanship does, is the meaning of every mission accomplished, not left undone. And in so doing, he often slows, even trips, suffers pain, but goes uncomplainingly about his job, which you mustn't forget isn't to offer an angry grunt or prove anyone wrong. Let's rewind the clocks to 2012, where it all started, before the legend, or should one say, of the unsung Faf du Plessis was born. The occasion was big, the opponent even bigger, the destination, the Lions' den, down under. Heck, Australia even back then were too strong. Not that the team facing the Kangaroos were clueless mice. How could it ever be that case when there was an Amla, De Villiers, Callis, and some more might? Though in the end, it all came down to one man who hung in there when the others were not anymore around. And with great determination did Faf du Plessis conjure 110 runs, compiling a century, a maiden one, but over and above a match-saving ton. Frankly, what he did almost back a decade is pretty much what Fab du Plessis is doing even now. Playing the bodyguard with fab muscles, being the wearer of a proud jersey, amid critics and fans who aren't holier than a cow. Remember, his task isn't easy. For who bowed out back in the day many moons ago were giants like Callis. Then came those who walked into sunsets like Amla, Morkel, Stain, Philander. Guess that would have hurt bad enough to make fans consume the poison chalice. Precisely that is where one man has seen it through, witnessed transitions firsthand. But seldom has he refused being an example, if not the greatest, but remains one who is determined to keep up the fight. For in South Africa and holding the ship steady stays South Africa's hero's might.
Guys, a beautiful poem by a beautiful writer on a beautiful man, beautiful cricketer. So that's us. We celebrate Francois du Plessis' 37th birthday. As the great man turns 37 today, a very befitting tribute to a hero, a warrior, a man
Thank you for
as
giving me
mighty
the
as
opportunity.
anyone can be. Please do like, watch, subscribe to this channel, like and watch this video. Until we bring our 11 soon, this is Dave Tyagi and Pranay Ranga signing off. Cheers, guys. Have a happy
Goodbye, guys. Thanks for listening.